Hi, everyone. Welcome to Practical Data Science. This is the semester of spring 2025, and my name is Yi Qiaoying, and I will be the instructor of this class. So first things first, let me take you to the homepage. At the homepage, you can click on Content, and it will take you to the table of contents, of which you can see the tabs Course Materials, Contact Me, and Networking. Let me start with Contact Me. In this page, you can see the school email as well as the personal email. Both you can reach me, and I check both emails on daily basis, and I check my email very frequently. So please feel free to reach out anytime. And as we dive into the semester, I want to make sure that you can reach out to me with any questions, or if you are in need of support, I'm always happy to help. Here's my LinkedIn page. Please feel free to add me here. And again, for any questions that you have regarding data science, machine learning, AI for that matter, or if it's just career-wise, networking, job search in general, I'm always happy to help. And I definitely look forward to working with every single one of you and hearing from you. So now let's go to the course material. This is the page for course material. Right off the bat, just a reminder, this class is asynchronous remote only. So what that means is there will be class recordings regarding projects, class materials, and I will make sure that these recordings are online and accessible for every single student in this class. You can access the recordings and finish the project and submit the project deliverable according to the course requirements at your own time. In other words, you do not have to log on to Zoom meeting or a particular class meeting at a single time throughout the week. You can work on the course material at your own pace. So with that being said, that is a general reminder for the setup of this class. And again, it's an asynchronous remote class. I will make myself available for the first session, which is set this Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. This is, of course, optional, and this is just in case that you want to get some FaceTime with me, and I'm happy to meet every single one of you, and I will stay on the Zoom session until the last student. This Zoom session will, of course, be recorded and be posted online, and I will make sure every student has access to the class. In the first session, you can ask me any questions regarding to projects, course materials, deliverables, submissions, things like that. But if you cannot make it, no worries, you can access the recordings online. With that being said, now let me take you to the course material, which is on this GitHub repository. This is the main page for the GitHub repository, which lists out the deliverable, the deadline, the projects, and the content of the course for this semester. I will make this URL available for you guys, and I will set a reminder whenever a certain deliverable is required. So if you scroll down, you will see CS667, Practical Data Science. And if you see that, then you know you're at the right location. As an introduction, this class is project-based, and it's designed to guide you through the full life cycle of data science project, from idea to production. For example, you might have an idea that you have by yourself, amongst your friends, with your instructors, such as me, or even with a stakeholder outside of the classroom environment. All of that ideas count. This class will help you to take an idea from whiteboarding session throughout the process and life cycle of building models, deploying models, and then the procedure of how to put models in production. In the data science lifecycle, you will also learn how to formulate a problem, collect and pre-process data, and build a model, things like that. And the goal by the end of the class is to hope that the class give you guys the exposure of how to handle professional data science challenges and to deliver deployable solutions. So that's the highlight of this class. Now, in terms of projects, we will be discussing project 1 and project 2 together during the class discussion time. And these projects will have deliverables. Project 1 and project 2 will each have 3 deliverables. You must submit at least 2 out of 3 deliverables. So that's requirement number 1. And everyone must finish project 1 and project 2 throughout this class. Additionally, you must also choose and attempt at least one more project with an external stakeholder, in addition to project 1 and project 2. And there's a list of options here in this markdown file, which then we'll go through that in just a minute. Throughout these projects, hopefully will give you unique opportunities to collaborate amongst yourselves single-handedly or collaborate with industry professionals. And what I'm also hoping to provide for you guys is to help you guys bridge the gap to see how things could turn out from an academic environment to real-world environment. And if any of these projects can lead you to a full-time job offer, then definitely give yourself a pat on the back. Throughout the class, we'll also help you to provide a variety of tools for you to assess the complexity and industry relevance for these technical projects. So all the resources are here, all the tools are here. Please take advantage of any of these tools and resources at your own needs. And I definitely look forward to kick off these projects with all of you. Next on the syllabus, let's talk about grading. This course is graded on a pass-fail basis. It is a 3-credit level class, which means in terms of volume of deliverables, it's equivalent or on par with that of a 3-credit class. However, since the course is graded on pass-fail, what that means is the deliverable will be graded on a participation basis. Of course, I'm here to help you be successful and help you deliver well-sounding projects and successful projects. But if there's challenges here and there, you can, of course, pass the class without any problems. So that's grading in general. Now let's talk about the specific requirements for grading. There's a link here allows students to make all the submissions and disregard which project or which deliverable or which deadline. We will be using the same link for all of the submissions to keep things simple. Please do take this part seriously because I will be grading you on a pass-fail basis based on these links, based on the submissions you submitted using this link. We will jump into that link in just a sec. Here you will see 2 bullet points, as I mentioned above. Bullet point number 1 indicates that you have to make a submission after every single class. The main reason for that is serve as a participation score. On top of that, you can of course be excused for 2 classes in case of medical reasons. During the semester, we will be covering project 1 and project 2. Project 1 and project 2 each has 3 submissions. So some of the classes, the submissions will be referring to the deliverable of these projects. You must fulfill at least 2/3 of these submissions in order to pass this class. So that wraps up bullet point number 1. There's a bullet point number 2 listed out here, which says you're also required to at least one of the projects in this list. And we're going to talk about what this list entails. These lists contains some of the most interesting real-world applications in the industry, and it's highly recommended for you to apply at least one of them. You must apply at least one of them, but of course, if you're interested in doing more than one, if you're interested in more than one, of course, you can certainly do that. I'll leave that decision up to you guys, but you must at least complete one. Now let's talk about this link for submission. If you click on this link, it will bring you to the submission form. You can fill out your first name, last name, course number. Here, you're going to select practical data science. And then the date is default to be at the time that you finish the form, which you don't have to change at all. Your student ID. And then there are a couple of questions. First question, what have you learned from the session? This question indicates to me that you watched the video and you understood what's the content of the video, and you're able to list out some of the topics that you've seen from that video. So it's a basic question to indicate that you participated in that video. The next question, what are some business ideas that you have from this session? This is more of a testimony of your imagination and kind of want to give you an opportunity to speak up based on your participation of that session. For example, you watched a video about a certain machine learning topic, and you have a real world application or real world idea. Feel free to list that out. Next question, what do you like about the session? And it comes with another question following up. What are some areas of improvement that you can think about the session? So the next two questions serves as pros and cons. Please use this as a free space or as a safe space to speak up your mind and share your opinion. I take this seriously, and I want to hear about every single one feedback from you guys. So feel free to share whatever's on your mind. If there's something you like about the session, or if there's something that maybe you thought about and you want to learn, but you have not seen in the session, please use this as a safe space to let me know that. And I definitely greatly appreciate that. Last but not least, you'll see that the last two boxes are GitHub URL, and perhaps here with resume, document, or papers. So let's talk about this GitHub URL input box. This input box is to allow you to submit your deliverables. For example, maybe a project deliverable can be a certain Python code. And a Python code will be living in some sort of .py script on a URL repository. This could perhaps be your own repository, places like that. So for example, if it's a .py script on my own personal GitHub repository, it will look like something like this: https github.com -in, and that's the repo name, and whatever the folder name that you want, and then end up being some sort of Python script. For example, it may be app.py. And of course, I'm assuming that this script is up and live and that this URL can take me to that script so that I can see that you submitted the code successfully. And it's also a place where I can access your code to see what you've done with the project and what your idea is. So this will not be a required option. This will not be a required field for every session, but it will be a required field at the deliverable deadline of that project. And this is also the place where you will be submitting project deliverable. And as we talked about before, there are 3 project deliverables for project 1. There are 3 project deliverables for project 2. And whatever is happening for the project in the end, we'll leave 1 big deliverable for that. On top of that, if you want to choose, and on top of that, this is the one last box here, is for your resume, document, and papers. If you're interested in any of the projects, as we discussed before, you must choose one of the projects. As we discussed before, you must choose one of the extra projects listed on the Markdown file. Please upload your resume here and indicate what project you prefer, and I will try my best to staff you at the right project based on your own skill sets as well as your own career needs. If there's no specification, I will submit you to all of the projects. Hopefully, you can get at least one of them. So that is an overview of what a particular submission is like for each session. So next, I want to use the remaining time to walk through the 2 bullet points in terms of the project details. Bullet point number 1 refer to project 1 and 2, of which we will be discussing and finish them within the class session. So let's start from there. Using this link, you can click on to see the details of project 1 and project 2. Let's start with project 1. Project 1 has a title Credibility Score for Articles and Resources, or also as references. Let me give you a highlight of what this project is referring to. Today's chatbot allows you to conduct research. Like, for example, if you are using ChatGPT or Perplexity AI, chatbots like that is very well capable of giving you guys a common response or a general response based on some sort of hyperlinks, URLs, blogs, online. So things like that. So essentially, the response are generated by compiling general information from the internet, to which it can be wrong, to which it can be right, it can also be wrong. This project proposes a credibility score on each. This project proposes a credibility score that's data-driven. Also, it's an AI-first project to be used to grade these citations one by one. For example, here I can search spine surgery recovery, and perhaps the first link comes from a link that's from NHS. How do we know that this NHS link is helpful or not? What is the procedure that we need to use? And how do we come up with a score? Is it 5 stars out of 5? And does that mean that this link is helpful or not? This project will dive into the details to examine and investigate these resources that's provided by a chatbot and aims to assign a score for these resources so that the users can use a relatively unbiased metric to rate the answer as they are seeing the response generated from a chatbot. The deliverable of this project is essentially a Python function that takes a URL of the reference as the input argument, and perhaps it returns some sort of JSON object that contains some sort of score, and then maybe some sort of an explanation. So user can read the score assigned to certain citation or reference and get a bit of understanding of explanation how that score is assigned. So that will be the deliverable of the first project. Now let me take you to the second project. Second project has a title, Tiny Troop for Simulation. This project aims to generate agentic AI framework to allow you to simulate a conversation between two agents that are taken or assigned certain personas. For example, you could be selling TV and you want to get an understanding of how the customers feel about this TV. In the old days, you're going to have to survey customers, and maybe they answer, maybe they don't. It creates a lot of frictions. Things are not as easy. Things are not that easy. You're going to have a lot of overhead cost, and you're going to have to send out survey, and hopefully people respond to that. This project proposes to use large language model to create certain personas, and you could create a two-way conversation or even three-way conversation to see how different people respond to different products based on their persona. So this project allows you to carry out a simulation based on certain tasks, and the task can be pretty much any topic that you can think about. It could be machine learning, it could be certain product in the industry, software product or electronic product, things like that. It could be even some sort of marketing campaign or some sort of off-the-shelf item that you can think about that you can see in a grocery store or in a convenience store, things like that. The recommended package here is called Tiny Troop. This is a Microsoft package. This is a package developed by a team from Microsoft, and you can easily set that up in your terminal window. And throughout the class project and throughout the class discussion sessions, I will be teaching you guys how to set that up. The deliverable of this project is actually very straightforward. You can use terminal as you can use terminal window as a basic UI for you to test out the input features and certain personas. These personas must follow certain product guideline, and together the personas will have some sort of discussion and conversation so that you can grade these conversations and you can share your grading, share your interpretation with me. In other words, the deliverables will be your interpretation of the conversation carried out by two agents that you designed following or using certain personas regarding certain products based on the prompt that you input using the package TinyTroop. And we're going to talk about how to do that in details when we get to that project. So that pretty much wraps up a high-level overview of Project 1 and Project 2. And again, as a reminder, Project 1 will have 3 deliverables. Project 2 will also have 3 deliverables. These deliverables will be done using the submission form that we discussed previously, and you must submit 2 out of 3 deliverables for each project. Now let's talk about the second bullet point. So using this link, you can click on the list of projects. For the sake of time, we're not going to go through every single project. As you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there are 6 project ideas listed out here. They are all coming from a certain industry or a certain domain in the real world. and they are very much what I consider a real world application. Please read this list thoroughly and use the bullet point to gauge the skills and the deliverable that you're comfortable with, and to see what kind of role or what kind of projects that you want to do that's related to your career based on your own needs. For example, some of the projects are there to build an app, which will be what I consider front-end developer. Some of them may be to build the API, maybe to build data ingestion pipeline. That will be what I consider back-end developer. So based on your needs, based on what the project require, please feel free to choose your own project. You must at least attempt one. For the sake of this class, I do not require you to submit all of them. I only require you to submit one deadline. So just one submission in the end of the semester for me to know that you participate in this project and that you will finish this class, right? As a reminder, this class is graded on pass-fail. You participate in the project, you are all set. You just have to make sure you have one submission for this project. And in terms of where you submit it, it's the same link that we discussed earlier. You just have to make sure in the end, you add the GitHub URL that you end up using for your project. Depending on project, some project might ask you to write a PowerPoint. Then you can add the PowerPoint in this last drop file button here. So with that being said, that is a walkthrough of the course syllabus. Hopefully I made it clear for you guys what constitutes as a pass for this class and what are the submissions required. I look forward to kicking off this semester with all of you, and I'm very excited and thrilled to work with every single one of you. Thank you very much, and I will see you guys in the next video, of which we will kick off project number 1.